I just think the world needs a lot more love and hope right now. And I think we are all important, play an important part in that. And I just encourage everyone to take a minute, tell someone you love them, whether it's a friend or a significant other, a family member, and just spread the love. I mean, I think that I find so much joy in doing so.
Welcome to the award-winning Authors Show, where we guide professionals in crafting a lasting legacy through the art of self-publishing. We help you remove self-doubt from your mind with our proven process to become a published author. We have helped authors all over the world to publish their books since 2002. I'm your host, Lisa Umina, CEO of Halo Publishing International. If you're ready to become an award-winning author, let's get started. Well, this is another beautiful chapter, no pun intended, of my podcast series with this beautiful woman that I've been able and honored and humbled to work with, Heidi Friedman, joining us today to talk about her book. I'm not going to give away the title. She's gonna introduce herself and tell us this amazing title, and then just go right into explaining why she wanted to publish this unique story about her. Heidi, welcome to my show.
Well, thank you for having me, Lise. It's been fun journey with you and your team, and I'm excited to talk about love lessons, 104 dates, and the stories that led me to true love, which came out on Valentine's Day, and I've had a ton of fun talking about love and hope in the world and in life, since that time. I wrote the book for my four kids, frankly. Although we can certainly get into it. I kind of wrote it in two parts over 15 years, but I decided I really wanted to make it a book because I did not want my kids to make the same mistakes that I made, and I didn't want them to settle with love. And so I felt like it was really important to put everything I went through down on paper so they could read it and hopefully be inspired to hold off until they meet their true person.
So what you're saying is they probably have already read the book. You probably read chapters out loud over the dinner table, but you're saying you're not allowed to go out with anyone until you read my book. I love that. What a beautiful affirmation. What a beautiful gift. We always say you're creating a legacy when publishing a book, but I love the whole idea of like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I did. But as a mom, like you keep saying things and saying things like, oh, but here we are, right? So I love that was your motive.
Exactly.
But look at that, like 15 years, all this together. And then how did you keep track? You said like this 104 number. Where did that come from?
I had this little red journal next to my bed that said love. I have no idea where it came from. Someone must have gotten it for me. And when I was about on my fourth date, which initially was all fix up. So when you're 30 in Cleveland or, 35, whatever I was, and you get divorced and you're the first person divorced, everyone and literally their mother fixes you up. And it wasn't a very thoughtful process. It was, she's single, he's single, let's fix them up. And so I would go out and be like, this is what they think of me. And so after my fourth date, I started doing little hashtags every time I
Okay.
went on a date. And I just kind of had this weird feeling like it was going to be a journey. Now, did I think it was going to be 104 dates? No. But, things happen and it took a little bit longer than I hoped. But it was an interesting, that it wasn't 104 guys, by the way. It was about 55 guys, and it was over a 10-year period. So it wasn't like
Oh
I
my
was going
goodness.
out every night.
I'm going to ask you this. Come on, of all those dates, tell us what the weirdest one was. Like you're like, oh, I can't wait till this is over.
I
What
would
was
say
it?
that's the number one question I get. So I met a guy on Match.com, and I am a huge fan of the apps to kind of open your heart. I'm not, kind of get you in the dating headspace. And so I thought it'd be just fun, meet people outside of my normal circle. And I met this guy. We emailed back and forth for a while because I never went out right away. And then I get to this bar to meet him for a drink. He, first of all, doesn't look anything like
Oh
the
my God.
picture whatsoever. I mean, not even close. And we're not even 5 minutes into the date, and he pulls out a cease and desist order that he had gotten from like Pepsi or Coke or somebody because he was storing dry Gatorade in his garage or some bizarre thing. But he wanted me to look at it as a lawyer and give him my thoughts on it. And I
Oh
was
my
literally
gosh.
like,
Wait, buy me
I mean,
dinner first at least, right? Buy me
but
dinner or something. Come
and
on.
I was literally like, you know what? My kids are calling. And I think I was there for 10 minutes and I ended up
Oh my
leaving. And so my kids are my
gosh.
excuse. So that's just like a super funny one. I mean, my Jewish speed dating, that's like a whole nother joke. But
Yeah,
it
talks
was
amongst yourselves. We're going to talk
ex
amongst ourselves on that one.
exactly. So it was just, so fun. But I mean, I will say when I look back and think about it, those are some of my funniest experiences of my life.
Yeah,
So
and,
it
then-
was
and look at it. Those are the things that make us put it in writing. It's like
right.
people got to know about this. It wasn't easy. And at the end of the day, obviously, I'm going to assume the 104th date ends up bringing you to your husband, and here you are, right?
Well, 105. He was
105.
105.
Okay, 105.
But
Okay, okay,
yes,
right. Okay,
and it
right.
was a fix up. And it was what I was sort of explaining to people is you have your little circle. And if you only tell the people in your little circle that you're dating, then you're probably not going to meet anybody new. But I had these people that I hardly knew at yoga, and we had gotten to know
Um,
each other. We're all type A folks. We sat in the front row in hot yoga so we could stare at a wall so we could meditate and focus. And we started talking to each other. And this woman who I hardly really knew at the time, who's now like a sister to me, basically said, like, what's your deal? And we started talking about my dates. And after a while, she kept saying, well, every time I see this guy, I think of you. And that's how it all
wow,
happened.
that
And
is
so
beautiful.
it is, she has great intuition and it was a cool experience, but it really is about kind of, I view it as like these expanding circles. So every time you join a running club or go play pickleball or do something, you could be meeting somebody who could introduce you to somebody else and
I
you just
I
don't
really
know.
believe that. I really believe that. I feel like do what you love, and that's the
Right.
person you're gonna end up being with because they share that in some way. All these experiences, what was the hardest chapter for you to write?
That's super interesting. I would actually say there wasn't a specific chapter that was hard for me to write. The hardest part is I have throughout the book little journal entries, and they're from my journals back in the day that I kept when I was dating. And I didn't write all the time, but I kind of wrote a lot, and I was glad I kept them because I do think you have to look back to see how far
Yeah.
you've come. And it was really sad. And I will say, the one thing I made all the kids and Will read the book before we went to print, just so everyone was comfortable with what I was sharing. And they all said the same thing, which is it made them so sad to read those because there's such loneliness. And I don't think I was depressed, but I was certainly lonely and I was struggling with maintaining hope and things like that. And I don't think they're used to seeing me like that. And so hearing my words when I was at my lowest was, I think, hard for them. And it was hard for me too.
Think though too, at the lowest parts of our life, that's where we really truly find ourselves too. It's not
Right.
when we're in the high skies of things. It humbles us, right? They say in the darkest moments, right? And I really believe that. I think when we look back and reflect on like, and I love that you journaled all this, is that and this is what I love about you. You say this, it's about growth. We're always growing. And I love when you
Right.
find someone that wants to grow too. Because
Right.
that's the other thing that the dynamics of a marriage is like you're that person, Heidi, that always is growing and and for me it just to have that person to shadow you, to be with you, to be by your side, they've got to want those same things too, like, hey, that was the old me, this is the new me. This every I think every what 5 years, whatever, you're more the expert there, but things change even in the dynamics of a marriage, and so you always want that person that's growing with you, not separate, right? So here we are.
Yeah, so you want to grow together, and I think it's important to support each other. You don't want a project where you have to fix someone. That's a
Right.
no-go.
No,
No
you want to
project. I
evolve
have a
together,
chapter on
right?
that. But you want
Yeah.
to start foundationally in this super authentic place where you're both your best selves already, and then you can kind of grow and expand together and make
Good.
each other their best person.
You're
Yes.
evolving. You're evolving, and he's evolving, or your partner's evolving with you, and I
Right.
think that's amazing. And then you'll have a lifetime friendship and a marriage. So, what made you decide to turn your very personal love of life into a research project and then a book? What was that moment? Because you said 15 years and then, okay, now I've got to make something happen. What was it?
Yeah, that so the research project started when I was 40, and which is a little embarrassing to say because I had been married, but I decided I didn't know what true love looked like. And I decided that I'm a data person. I'm super analytical, and I was going to interview people who I knew, who I felt had strong relationships. And so I went around and said, how did you know it was true love? What was the moment? Was there a certain feeling? And these conversations led to themes that emerged that no matter how many people I talked to, it was sort of the same themes over and over again. And so it was really interesting. And I wrote the first part of the book on those themes, and I think instilled them in the back of my mind and then put it away. And I found it a couple of years ago, and I was like, wow, like I want to think about these themes in my relationship with Will and apply those themes to this relationship and see what it looks like. And wow, they all applied and some more. And then I decided that when I was looking back, thinking about the dates that I talk about and my research and my current relationship, I really had learned a lot about love and finding the right love for you. And I wanted to share my experience. I just feel that if I can help one person have some hope or find
Yeah,
love, it'll make me so
exactly.
happy.
Well, that's the thing too, is here, and I love that you shared that too with us, is that yeah, your children even saw a different side of you, but all that was preparing for you to become what? An expert in love. And here you are now, right? You're going to be on how many more podcasts today? I love it. And so, did you have
Three
any,
more today.
yeah, right? Did you have any aha moments during the interviews with other couples that changed your perspective on love?
I don't think it changed my perspective, but I will say this. I was looking for an answer. So
Okay.
I'm a black and white person. I see things only, not very gray. It's usually black and white. And so I was thinking that, there's got to be an answer. And I would say the epiphany I had is almost everyone just sort of explained that they knew. It felt comfortable, it felt safe. They understood me. They embraced whatever the words were that they used. And then when I met Will, I like knew right away. So it was sort of like, you know, I used to think it was this big fuzzy thing.
Right.
And in fact, I was going to call the book Embracing the Gray, but it's not. It's like you actually know. It is sort of a black and white feeling, but it's a
Yeah.
little different for everybody. So I would say my epiphany is it is a little bit different for everybody, but at the same time, I felt like everyone knew it when they had it. And not a single person that I interviewed, either the 50 some that I interviewed originally, and then I interviewed six or seven more just to kind of validate my data post COVID. No one said it was love at first sight. Everyone said
No.
that maybe they felt a connection that was different, but no one used the terms love at first sight. So that was also a little bit of an epiphany.
What about soulmate? Did anyone use soulmate at the end? Like they
Yes.
thought, okay, wow, that's
Yes.
awesome.
People
So,
definitely use the word soulmate.
and then when you're talking this black and white, we got to let the listeners know that here you are, you're a successful woman in law. What unique pressures did you face in the dating world? Because come on, we know you're a strong woman, black and white. Here comes this beautiful woman. She knows what she wants, and then all of a sudden, this guy has got to have guts, right? That's kind of how,
Well, I will
right?
say that, I definitely struggled with the apps because I didn't you want to come off as, cute but not too cute and independent but not too independent. And well, never like a mom, like, so there's all these things. But I will say with dating, I definitely knew I needed someone who respected a female to have a career, and, to make it equal to whatever his career was going to be. And it was pretty easy to weed out people where that wasn't the case. But also not everyone wanted like a 5 foot Jewish mom of two that was like, had two kids. So there was some give and take on both sides. But I will say that it certainly is difficult for some people
Yeah,
to accept, I think, the success that I worked so hard for as a single mom, but I knew that the right person would not only accept it, but support it and promote it, which Will, my now husband, most definitely does.
obviously. And there's always that missing piece, and he came in and he was that piece. So we talk about you as a professional and now as an author. Let's talk about that beautiful side of you of being a mom and now being both biological and the bonus kids and the way they shape you to approaching and finding love. How did that all fit together?
Yeah, I will say that I am a big believer in you cannot have enough people that love you. And my bonus kids are some of the greatest gifts of my life. And I hope that I'm a gift to them. I know my two kids consider Will, one of the best things that's ever happened to him,
Wow.
to them, and Will's been very much a father figure and all of those things. So it's been this lovely relationship. And I will say that, a lot of people are very hesitant to date somebody with kids and all of that. But I always felt that I had a lot of love to give. And I
Yeah.
will say, like, my youngest son is so close to my oldest stepson. They talk every day. The Cavs are in the playoffs now,
Oh,
so they're talking like every day, all day, because they're all Cavs fans. But seeing us on vacation together, for example, over Thanksgiving, the six of us, I was literally at dinner was night at night. I was like, "Here's a toast. I love this little family that we
yeah,
create.
little.
It just
Six is
fills
big.
my
Six is
life."
big. It's beautiful.
Six is big,
It is
but
big.
there's so much more support. There's more people to help each other. And when we've had a kid that's been down low, like one kid might be down low, and the step brother, sister helped, whatever. So it is really special. And I think that, the fact that Will had two boys is just another bonus for me in my life.
That's awesome. And how many years have you been married now? Happily?
We just had our 10-year anniversary,
10.
actually.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes. So we've been together
Congratulations.
for
That's
12, but
great.
just had our 10-year anniversry.
Well, and I always say, be careful how you talk to me and treat me because it'll be a chapter in my book. Little did he know that the whole book would be based.
Yeah, someone said to me who read it and says, I feel like it's a love letter to Will. And I was like,
It,
oh, I love that
yeah,
actually.
it is. It's
So it's
beautiful. So
nice.
even your mission was for your children to read it before they get in the dating world, but hear the bigger messages, a beautiful thank you for him coming in your life and filling that space that was waiting for him. And I think that's amazing. If you want to, which I would love for you to leave a message to our listeners, what would that message be?
I just think the world needs a lot more love and hope right now. And I think we are all um, play an important part in that. And I just encourage everyone to take a minute, tell someone you love them, whether it's a friend or a significant other, a family member, and just spread the love. I mean, I think that I find so much joy in doing so, and I think folks will as well. My son and I started a podcast,
Oh my
my
gosh, I love it.
year-old, called I Love You More. And
Oh,
it's
nice.
on Spotify and Apple, and we're talking about dating and love and relationships in the generational differences.
Wow.
And
Right.
I will tell you that has been so much fun for me. And just to have those kind of conversations with Zach has been beautiful. And I hope that will also help spread the love to people.
I think that's amazing message. And I know people have already asked you, I'm going to assume it, but I know, is there going to be a love lessons part two?
I don't know if there's going to be a love lessons part two. I would love to write another book at some point, and I'm not sure if it's more about connection or what it might be, but I probably have a book or two in me
You can
still someday.
you can also co-author. Zach can easily come in and talk
Oh,
about
right. There
comparing
you
the
go.
generations and
I love that. That's a
how
great
they're
idea.
going into dating and how we are so used to date. I don't know what it would even look like to date. I would be nervous a little bit about
It's so interesting. They're so
this
app
is it
tech
is
focused. It's very, I mean, even like using Instagram and things like that, like things that we would never have thought
never.
about.
No,
And
no,
and
no,
just the
never.
way they connect is so different. But yet I think they want the same things. And the best honestly, the best compliment I have been given by my kids is thanking me for setting an example of what a real wonderful relationship looks like for them. And for that, I could not be more grateful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. You can definitely find Love Lessons, 104 Dates, and the Stories That Led Me to True Love on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, Goodreads, Books A Million. I think at this point, Heidi, they could just Google your name and it's going to come up. I think what's also amazing is that you're going to be on all these podcasts and you have your own podcast show. So, listeners, if you want to hear more about Heidi and her life, join her on her own podcast show with her son, Zach. Or you want to learn more about her stories and her dates, pick up her book at any bookstore. Online's the easiest way to go, right? With Time,
A
Amazon to get
hundred,
the
a
book,
hundred
right?
percent. I appreciate the support from you and
104%, 104%, Heidi.
104%. Exactly. And thank you for having me.
Thank
And
you.
follow
Thank
me
you.
at Love Lessons 104 as well.
I will. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Thank you, and let's have a chat again sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Okay.
Lise. Good to see you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're ready to publish your book, please submit your manuscript on halopublishing.com, or you can download our free publishing guide to learn everything you need to know about the entire self-publishing process. Start writing your legacy today.